Today we learn Mathematics 3. Mathematics 3 under the BTech courses for CSC, Computer Science and Engineering. Paper code is MCSC 301. For Information Technology, paper code is MIT 301. Today's module is 6 Graph Theory for the Computer Science and Engineering. Module 5 Graph Theory for the Information Technology. Today's lecture is lecture 36 for the paper code MCSC 301 module 6 and lecture 33 paper code MIT 301 module 5. Today's topics is Euler graph, Konigsberg bridge problem and related theorems and examples. First we learn what is called the Konigsberg bridge problem. It is unsolved from long period of the times. It was solved by the Euler. In the name of the Euler, as soon as he solved it and explained it, it is the unsolved. Why it is unsolved? From that developed a part of that is the Euler graph in the name of the mathematician Euler, Leonhard Euler. From that we learn the part of the graph theory known as the Euler graph, Euler line, Euler walk, like that. Now, what is the basic problem? The Konigsberg bridge problem. The first research paper in the graph theory was written by Leonhard Euler in the year 1707 and 1783. That is the duration of the life of the Leonhard Euler. And paper in the year of 1736, when he solved a long-standing means long-standing unsolved problem by means of a graph known as the Konigsberg bridge problem. There was a river and there is the island, these two islands in the river, and this is the bank of the two sides of the river. There are the how many bridges we can see? 7 bridges. 2 bridges connect the island C to the bank of A, and 2 bridges connect the island C of the bank B, and C and D also connect by a bridge, and D island also connect by a bridge to the bank of the river A, and D also connect with the bank of the river B. This is the basic problem. And what is the problem right now? Two islands C and D formed by the Presel River in the Königsberg. Now Königsberg name is changed. It is known as the Kaliningrad. Königsberg name is changed. Now it is known as the Kaliningrad. And in the Lithuania are connected to each other. These two islands in the river connected to each other by a bridge, and the banks A and B with the 7 bridges I already explained, also shown in the graph. For some purpose, maintenance or etc., problem is that the problem was faced starting from any of the 4 land area A, B, C or D. You start from any island, start from A or B or C or D. Walk over each of the 7 bridges exactly once and return to the starting point. That means you have to start from A, and you have to visit the island and walk in each and every bridge, and again you have to come A. But it is an impossible thing. That is explained by the Leonhard Euler, 1736. Bridge exactly once and return to the starting point. That means you can travel or you can walk through the bridge only once, and you have to visit all the bridge and you have to come back to the A. If you start from the A, if you start from C, if you move this way, then you can start from this, move this, then move this, then move. Either you can reach here, then no. See, if you start from here, then this, then you can visit. Then so it is an impossible task. Euler represented this problem by a graph as shown in the figure. The vertices of the graph represents the land area and the edges represent the bridge. A, B, C and D. C and D is our the island and A and B is the bank of the river. And these are the bridges connected to the island and the bank of the river. So that problem we can represent by a graph as shown in the figure. Euler proved that a solution for this problem does not exist. That is, it is not possible to walk over each of these 7 bridges exactly once and return to the starting point. It is the impossible case. If we check, degree of this vertex is 3, degree of this vertex is 4, degree of this vertex is 3, and degree of this vertex is 3. This is 4, 1, 3, no, this is the 5. 3 and 2 is the 5. This is 3, this is also 3, this is also 3. Now, as soon as we learn the definitions of this, then it is easy for us why it is impossible for the Königsberg bridge problem to visit the all 7 bridges and came to the same starting point. That is the impossible case. Euler line. What is called the Euler line? A closed trail. Already we learned what is called the trail. Trail is repeated the vertices but edges only once. A closed trail in a graph is called a Euler line, consists all the edges of the graph. That means a trail which is covered all the edges of the graph, then it is known as the Euler line. What is called the Euler graph? A graph is called an Euler graph if the graph it has Euler line. That means a Euler line which is covers all the edges, then it is known as the Euler graph. That means we can find out a trail which is covered. If we move with this trail, it covers or traverses all the edges of the graph. Euler path. A path in a graph is called the Euler path if it consists all the edges of the graph. Path, no vertices and no edges repeated more than once. But in the trail, vertices maybe appears more than once, but edges only once. Euler circuit. A circuit in a graph is called an Euler circuit if it contains all the edges of the graph. These two things is the similar. Euler path, that means it is when it is covered all the edges. All the edges, that means it is a closed path. When it is a closed path, then it is a Euler circuit. A circuit in a graph is called an Euler circuit if it contains all the edges of the graph. But in this case, vertices maybe appears more than once. Euler graph. This is the example of the Euler graph. You can check and verify it. If you start with an edge, if you start from this, like that, you start with this, Suppose I am starting with these vertices. Now moving these edges, then this way. Where is that cursor? In this way, then move this way. Any way you can move that. I think it is wrong. I'm starting with this, or I can start from this way, then this way, then this way, then this way. You can check it anyway. If you start with this, then with this, then with this, then with this. You can do anyway. It is covers all the edges, but few vertices repeated once. So there is a Euler line. That's why it is an Euler graph. What are the definition again? A graph is called an Euler graph. It has an Euler line. When it is a path, Euler path, that means it is visit all or traverse all the edges according to the definition of the path. You can try it with this graph. Both are the Euler graph. Theorem. Now it would be clear to us why the Konigsberg bridge problem is unsolved, and that is not the possible case. The minimum number of edges in a connected graph with n vertices is n minus 1. This is the one theorem. Then we learn the related to the connected and disconnected graph. The minimum number of edges in a connected graph with n vertices is n minus 1. Proof. Let G be a graph with the n number of vertices and m number of edges. This is our the consideration. A graph with n number of vertices and m number of edges. Normally we are considering e number of edges. What we have to prove? We have to prove that m is greater than equal to n minus 1. This question is that the minimum number of edges is n minus 1. So m is greater than equal to n minus 1. We prove this method by the mathematical induction of m, the number of edges. If m equal to 0, that means number of edges is 0. Obviously, the number of vertices n equal to 1 and it is an isolated vertex. When n is 1, that means the number of vertex is 1. That's why due to that, there is no number of edges. Otherwise, G will be disconnected. Therefore, in this case, m is greater than equal to 1. N is 1. If we put n is equal to 1, 1 minus 1, so 0 equal to 1 minus 1. Let the result holds good for all connected graph with less than equal to k number of edges. Since it is true for n equal to 1, if we consider n equal to 2, suppose, how many edges we will get between the two vertices? 1. That is also true. So in this case, we are considering it is true for less than equal to k number of edges, and k is the number of vertices. Let us consider it is true for k. Now we have to show it is true for k plus 1. G be a connected graph with k plus number of edges and E be an edge of G. Since it is true for k, let us consider it is true for k plus 1. Basically, we have to prove it is true for k plus 1. And in this case, in this graph, G, we are considering that exists a edge E. There is a edge E in there. Then the subgraph G, if we remove that G, if we not consider that edge G. So rest part is a subgraph. That means we are notation we are writing like that, G minus E. G minus E means if we remove that edge E from the graph G, so rest of the part of the G is G minus E is a subgraph of G by deleting the E. This is the notation. G minus E means if we delete the E from the graph G, then whatever the subgraph we will get of the G, that is denoted as G minus E by deleting the E from the G. So G minus E is the subgraph of G. Then the subgraph G minus E is obtained by deleting, is the repetition line for the next slide, G and key numbers of edges. As soon as we delete the edge E, we have basically the k plus 1. Now it is reduces to the key number of edges. Now it is true for key number of edges. Now that is the two cases arises. But after removing the edge E, G may be a connected graph, G may be a disconnected graph. If it is a disconnected graph, so logic to prove that k is greater than equal to n minus 1 be some different, and if G minus E is connected graph, so our logic to prove is different. When case 1 we are considering G minus E is connected graph. In this case, G minus E is a connected graph with k number of edges and n number of vertices. Therefore, by our assumption, because we shown that n is equal to 1, it is true for n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, and we considered it is true for k number of edges. So k is greater than equal to n minus 1. Now, if we write in this way, we know n is greater than n minus 1 and k plus 1. Since k is greater than equal to n plus 1, so obviously k plus 1 greater than equal to n minus 1. Otherwise, we can say like that, adding both sides by 1. From this inequality, 1 is positive integer, not the negative. So adding both sides, what we will get? K plus 1 greater than equal to n. Again, n is greater than equal to n minus 1. So from that we can write k plus 1 greater than equal to n, n greater than equal to n minus 1. So k plus 1 is greater than equal to n. It is true and proof. We have to show that when it is k, it is true, we have to show that it is true for k plus 1. Now case 2, G minus E is disconnected. If we consider that is the two component, it may be more than two component. Let us consider there is the two disconnected graph. G minus E, after removing the AG, we got the two disconnected graph. And let us consider the two disconnected graph with the K1 and K2 number of edges, and we are considering both the graph consisting of the n1 and n2 number of vertices. So first one we are considering n1 number of vertices and k1 number of edges, and second one considering the n2 number of vertices and k2 number of edges. So what is the total number of vertex? n1 plus n2, but n1 plus n2 is the n one thing, and k1 plus k2 is the k. We cannot say because one edge is removed. So we can say k1 and k2 itself less than equal to k. and K1 plus K2 is equal to K. And which is we remove, that time the number of edges was K plus 1. Therefore, K1 and K2 less than equal to K, and so by our assumption, K1 is greater than equal to N minus 1. It is already we shown, and this is our the assumption to prove that it is true for K1 plus 1, and we have to show that it is K2 plus 1. It is true. So K1 greater than equal to N1 minus 1, and K2 is greater than equal to N2 minus 1. Therefore, adding these two inequality, what we will get? K1 plus K2 greater than equal to N1 plus N2 minus 2. That is K. K1 plus K2 is equal to K. So K is greater than equal to N minus 2. As K1 plus K2 is equal to K and N1 plus N2 is equal to N. If we add both sides, the 1, what we will get? Adding both sides by 1, what we will get? K1 plus 1 greater than equal to N minus 1. Therefore, we conclude that if the result is true for all connected graphs with less than equal to K number of edges, then it is also true for all connected graphs. This is the repetition of the line. This is the repetition. No. It is less than equal to K, then it is also true for less than equal to K plus 1. As we assume that it is true for less than equal to K, now we have to show that it is true for K plus 1. That is, it is true. So number of edges, but we have already seen that the result is true for K is equal to 0. Therefore, it is true for 0 plus 1 equal to 1, 1 plus 1 equal to 2, 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, etc. Thus, the result is true for any connected graph with n number of vertices. That means for n is positive integer, it is true for all values of n, positive integer. Thus, the result is true for any connected graph with n number of vertices. This completes the proof. Proceeding in the same way as in the proof of the above theorem, the following theorem can be proved. The minimum number of edges in a graph with n vertices is n minus k, where k is the number of connected components of the graph, because we have the k number of components. Each component, suppose the first one is n1k1, second one is n2k2, third one is n3k3. So like that we can say first one number of edges is n1 minus 1, second one is n2 minus 1, third one is n3 minus 1. So kth one will be nk minus 1. So if we sum up that, what we will get? n1 plus n2 plus nk, and minus how many? K number of ones, so minus k. So n1 plus n2 up to nk will be the n. So from that we will get n minus k. Example, the minimum number of edges in a connected graph having 21 vertices is minimum number of edges. 21 minus 1 is equal to 20. We can verify it with that. When it is the 2 vertex joined by 1 edge, 3 vertex, minimum number of edges. 2 vertex we can add by 1 edge, and 2 vertex we can add by 1 edge. So minimum number of edges is 2. Or otherwise we can consider in this way, this is the 1 vertex. 1 vertex we have, suppose 1 vertex, and we have another n minus 1. That rest n minus 1 vertex connect with this vertex. This vertex we are calling at the V. We are calling this is the nth vertex and call it the V. So that nth vertex V is connected the rest of the n minus 1 vertex. So what is the minimum number of edges? N minus 1. N number of vertex, and we will get the n number of edges. So it is a connected graph n minus 1. So minimum when the vertex is n, the minimum number of edges is n minus. It may be more than. For the connected connection, we need the minimum number of edges n minus 1. Example, we are considering an example. This is called the utility problem. There are three houses, H1, H2, H3. According to the graph, the figure is here. H1, H2 and H3. Question is that each to be connected to each of the three utilities. Water, W, gas, G, and electricity. Gas is connected by the pipeline for usage of the gas. Water also connected by pipeline for usage of the water, and electricity where it's connected for using the electricity by means of conduits, means our purpose or usage. It is possible to make such connection any crossovers of the conduits. We have to make the connection in such a way that no utility line should not be crossover. Make such connection in crossover of these conduits, means utility or utilizations of the our purpose. How we can draw? H1, H2, H3 is our the three house. And this three is our the utility. This is the electricity. That electricity is connected to straightway H3. One is connected to H2 and from H2 to H2 and another is the H1. So no one is crossover. Second, gas we are considering. Gas pipeline to H3, one is H2, another is H1. And third one is the water line. Water H3, H2 and H1. This is represented by a graph. Also it is known as the network diagram, also represented by a graph. Now this is the graph is related to the Euler graph. A given connected graph G is an Euler graph if and only if all vertices of G are of even. Now see, but the Königsberg bridge problem, that graph vertices all are not even degree. If we check that a given connected graph G is an Euler graph if and only if all vertices of G are of even degree. Every time it is not necessary to remember the proof, but we have to remember this statement to learn the next theorem or to solve the any other problem. A given connected graph G is an Euler graph if and only if all vertices of G are of even degree. It is if and only if is there. That means two parts is there. Necessary conditions and the sufficient conditions. Two part we have to show or prove. First we are considering the necessary condition. What are the conditions we need? Let the graph G be an Euler graph. Therefore it contains an Euler line. If it is a Euler graph, what is the definition of Euler graph? A graph said to be a Euler graph if there exists a Euler line. Euler line means a line which is, that means the trail. Euler line means a trail which is covers all the edges of the graph, which is a closed walk trail. Basically, when it is covered all the edges, start and end point should be the same. That means it is a closed trail or walk, we can say. In tracing the graph, we observe that at every time the walk meets a vertex V, say, then it goes through a new edge incident on V, along one it events V and along other leaves. That means in one vertex, from one edge I am incident to that vertex, and then I am leaving the vertex through the another edge and reach to the another vertex. That means from one edge we are entering to a vertex, again we are leaving that vertex by one edge by moving through the one edge. That is here. Alone one it enters V and along another leaves V. That means one is entered incident to a vertex, another is we are leaving from the vertex. This is true not only of all intermediate vertices of the walk, but also of the terminal vertex, because we left and entered the same vertex at the starting and end of the walk. That means when we start, we leave the vertex. At the end, when the starting and end vertex is the same, so again we are entering. That means only the starting and end vertex, except all the intermediate vertex, we are entering and leaving, entering and leaving, entering and leaving, entering and leaving. At the end, start and end vertex is the same. That means we are not as soon as leave and as soon as enter to the two end vertices, but intermediate vertices we are enter and leave. So if we consider that the Euler line, what is came from that? Therefore, if G is an Euler graph, the degree of every vertex is given. Therefore, the intermediate vertex degree is 2, and also end and start vertex, when it is a close, they have also the degree 2. That means all have the degree even. So it is proved that the degree of all the vertices be even. Sufficient condition. Let us consider that all the vertices of G are of even degree. In this case, necessary conditions, we prove that all the vertices to be degree even. Now we are considering all the vertex of the degree even. From that, we have to prove that there exists a Euler line. Let us consider that all the vertices of G are of even degree. Now we construct a walk starting at an arbitrary vertex V, say, and going through the edges of G such that no edges is traced more than once. So according to the Euler line, we cannot trace or move or walk through the edge more than once. We continue this process of tracing as far as possible. Now, if we meet a vertex, we can exit or leave that vertex, since every vertex is of even degree. We entered and leave from that vertex. The tracing cannot stop at any vertex but V, and since V is also even degree, we shall definitely reach V when the tracing comes to an end. If this closed walk HA we just traced includes all the edges of G, then G is a Euler graph. If not, we remove from G all the edges of H. H means that is the Euler line or the Euler path, we can say, whatever we got till now, and obtain a subgraph H dash, say, of G formed by the remaining edges. Since both G and H have all their the vertices, all their vertices of the even degree, the degree of all the vertices of H dash are also even. Further, H dash must touch H as at least at once the vertex SA, because G is connected. Starting from the vertex A, we can again construct a new walk in the graph H dash. Since all the vertices of H dash are of even degree, this walk in H dash must terminate at A. This walk in H dash can be combined with H to form a new walk which start and ends at the vertex B and has some edges than H. This process can be continued until we get a closed walk. That traverses all the edges of G. Thus, the graph G is an Euler graph. Now, this is the graph representation of the Konigsberg-Bridge problem. Now, see why it was unsolved and it is not the possible case. Konigsberg Bridge problem. If we look at the graph of the Konigsberg Bridge, we see that not all the vertices are of even degree. Therefore, it is not an Euler graph, and hence it is not possible to walk over each of the 7 bridges exactly once, and hence back to the starting point. See, this is the degree of this 1, 2, and 3. This is 5 degree. This is 3 degree. This is also 3 degree. So, not all the vertices are even degree. So, it is not possible to traverse all the edges by an Euler line. So, this is not a Euler graph. So, it is impossible case to start from A and traverse all the edges and back to A. Theorem. A simple graph with n number of vertices and k number of components can have maximum n minus k into n minus k plus 1 by 2 number of edges. Maximum number of edges of a simple graph with n number of vertices is n into n minus 1 by 2. We got NC2. That theorem we already learned. The maximum number edges of a simple graph, obviously simple connected graph, is NC2, that is n into n minus 1 by 2. Now here we have the key number of components and total number of vertices is n. Then the maximum number of edges is n minus k into n minus k plus 1 divided by 2. You have to prove that. That means G is a disconnected graph with key number of components. Proof. Let G be a simple graph with n number of vertices and k number of components. Let each of the k number of components of the graph consist of n1, n2, n3 and nk number of vertices respectively. So from that, what we will get? N1 plus N2 plus N3 plus Nk is equal to N. Ni greater than equal to 1. That means the number of vertices obviously greater than 1, I is equal to 1, 2, 3, k. Let us first prove that the following inequality. First, we have to prove this inequality. Summation I is equal to 1 to k ni square less than equal to n square minus k minus 1 into 2n minus k. This inequality we have to first prove that. This is we are considering there n1 number of vertices in the first component of the graph and nk number of vertices in the kth number of component, kth component. We are writing that way, that Ni is the number of vertices greater than equal to 1, I is equal to 1, k, the kth, ith component. Ni is the number of vertices in the ith component, I is equal to 1 to k. And we have to show that this I is equal to 1 to k and I square less than equal to n square minus k minus 1 twice k. For that, we are considering this summation of, we can write it I is equal to 1 to k Ni minus 1 equal to, so we can break it into the two summation. I is equal to 1 to k Ni, I is equal to 1 to k 1. So it is the kth times summation. That means from that what we will get k, and this is the summation of Ni is n. So this is n minus k. This is clear from that. Now we are taking the square of that. I is equal to 1 to k n minus 1 whole square. So this side from we will get n square plus k square minus twice nk. And from the left hand side, what we will get? We take it inside of this summation. So I is equal to 1 to k ni minus 1 whole square plus, this is the product term of this. I is equal to 1 to k and j is equal to 1 to k, I not equal to j. Ni minus 1 and nj minus 1. When it is product, we will get the two term. And from this, we will get the 1, and this is. And right hand side is our the n square plus k square minus twice nk. This is the product of that. And product term, if we write, consider when I and j is the same, then it is the repetition of this square term. And why not it is 2? Ni, nj. That means if we consider it is 1, n1, n2, and n2, n1, two summation is there. So that will be repeat here. N1, n2, and n2, n1. That time it is repeating the twice. That's why it is not twice is there, and I not is equal to j also there. At the same time, it is 1, it never be, because this is the repetition will come again. That's why it is I not is equal to j. From the left hand side, I is equal to 1 to k ni minus 1 whole square less than equal to. Since this is a positive term, see whatever the value we will get from this is the positive value. This product term value is the positive value. Because ni minus 1, ni greater than equal to 1 and nj greater than equal to 1. So from that we will get the positive or we will get the 0. But it is not possible. All ni will be the 0. Right hand side is n square plus k square minus twice nk. So when we are deleting a positive term from the left hand side, automatically left hand side will be less. So left hand side is less than n square plus k square minus twice nk. This is our the conditions we know. This term is positive, this term is also positive. Or we can write by making the left hand side I is equal to 1 to k ni square minus 2 I is equal to 1 to k ni plus I is equal to 1 to k 1 less than equal to 1 square means 1. So n square plus k square minus twice nk. From this we will get the twice n. From this we will get the k. And this is our the square. I is equal to 1 to k n I square minus twice n plus k. This part. From that we can write this is less than equal to. So I is equal to 1 to k n I square less than equal to n square minus 2nk minus k square minus 2n plus k. So after simplifying and factorizing, we'll get I is equal to 1 to k n I square less than equal to n square minus k minus 1 twice n minus k. Thus 1 is proof. We need this proof. This is less than equal to this. This part is less than this. It is prove. That is our the first one inequality. Now, since there are neither parallel edges nor the self loop, as the graph is a simple, so there exists at most one edge corresponding to any pair of the vertex in G. Let Gi be the component of the G having ni number of the vertices. Therefore, number of edges in Gi is less than equal to NiC2 according to our the definition. For a simple graph, that is the maximum number of edges is less than equal to NC2. From that we will get half Ni into Ni minus 1. That theorem we already learned. Our beginning of this theorem I already explained. If a simple graph with the n number of vertices, maximum number of edges be half n into n minus 1. How we will get NC2. So therefore, the number of edges in G is less than equal to, therefore the number of edges in G, from that we will get I is equal to 1 to k half. We are considering the one component. So we have how many components? K number of components. Now we can sum up that. Then what we will get? I is equal to 1 to k half ni minus 1 equal to half. We can break it the sum component. I is equal to 1 to k ni square minus I is equal to 1 to k ni equal to, we can write half I is equal to 1 to k ni square, and summation of this is n less than equal to, therefore the number of edges in G is less than equal to, we can write this part half I is equal to 1 to k n square. So here we apply the whatever the inequality we already proved and got, from that we can write less than equal to half. That inequality we got n square minus k minus 1 into 2n minus k minus n. From that simplifying we will get half n minus k into n minus k plus 1. So this is the maximum number of the edges less than equal to, this is that the edges is less than equal to that. So this is our the maximum number of edges in a graph with n vertices and have k components. Hence the result. Now we are considering the one simple example, existence of the number of edges with respect to the number of vertex. If a simple regular means all the vertices have the same degree. Simple means there is no self loop and parallel edges. Every time we have to remember our definition, whatever we already learned. Every time we need this definition, and according to that, when we are solving the problem, we have to apply that definition, whatever we already learned. Simple graph means there is no self loop and parallel edges. Regular means each and every vertex have the same degree. If a simple regular graph has n vertices, that means we have a graph G with n number of vertices and it is given 24 edges. Find all possible values of the n. 24 edges is there and n is not given, unknown. So we have to find out the possible values of n. That means what are the possible values of the n to satisfying the 24 edges for a regular graph. Draw a graph against each of the such values. In this example, we are not drawing that, not shown here that. Let k be the degree of all the vertices of the graph. Therefore, the sum of the degree of all the vertices we know, that is the n number of vertex, and each and vertex with the k degree, so nk. Again, from that, total number of vertices is equal to 2 into number of edges, that we already learned from the first theorem, handshaking theorem. So from that we can write nk is equal to 2 into 24 is equal to 48. From that we can write n equal to 48 by k. This is our the one relation. Another relation we will get, on the other hand, we know the maximum number of edges in a simple graph with n vertices is n into n minus 1 by 2. From that we can write n into n minus 1 by 2. Here the edges is given 24, but maximum number of edges is n into n minus 1 by 2. So from that we can write n into n minus 1 greater than equal to 48. This is the relation 2. So from that we have to find out the value of n considering the k equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. That means indexing the k and also satisfy the condition 2. Now k is positive integer from 1. Let us consider k is equal to 1. It becomes the capital K. It should be the small k. K equal to 1, we get n equal to 48 because 48 by k is our the n, and this is also satisfy the relation 2. Which one is satisfying the relation 2? That is our the considerable case, and those are not satisfying the 2. That is not our the considerable case. At that same time, you have to check n should be the integer. It should not be the fraction. When k is equal to 3, we get n equal to 16 and satisfying 2. K is equal to 4, we get n equal to 12 because 48 by 4. What is the value? 12, and it is satisfying the 2. K is equal to 5, we get 48 by 5. We cannot get an integer value. So we have to discard it, this value. Again, k is equal to 6, we get n equal to 8, and this value satisfying 2. Again, k is equal to 7, we get what we will get 48 by 7. It gives us not integer value. That means in value is not an integer. Now k is positive integer from 1. We get k is equal to 8, then we get n equal to 6. But this value does not satisfy the conditions 2. So after onwards, we cannot consider any one. We have to stop here. And from that, we can conclude what are the possible values of n are 48, 24, 16, 12, and 8. So this is the end today's class. Next class is the lecture 37 for the paper code MCSE 301 model 6 and lecture 34 for the paper code MIT 301 model 5. And what we learn in the next class, card sets and card vertices. Diagram means a directed graph. That means the graph direction is given. Weighted graph means weight of the edge is given. And the bipartite graph, that means we can segregate the vertices in the two partition set. Matrix representation of the graph, we can represent the graph by a coefficient matrix. That we learn in the next class.